So we'll say, so it's ready to rock and roll? Are you ready to rock and roll? Because I don't know what time it is here. The time is behind the big tree. The clock is back over there behind the big tree. Do you want to start?
Sure.
All right.
This is a presentation about the new diet guidelines. What you guys knew before was mechanical soft, nectar thick liquids. It's all changing, and it's all internationally changing. So what a diet is recommended here would also, if you went to China, it'd be the exact same thing. So that's kind of why they're doing this. So it's worldwide. If people are bouncing around nursing homes, it's the same. If people come from the hospital, it's the same. Before, if someone was mechanical soft in the hospital, that might mean something different here. So that's the reason for the change. It's a lot of change. So I'm just warning you, now it's a lot. So the foods are changing to regular, which was the same as before. Regular, they can have anything that's served here. The next step down before was mechanical soft. Now the next step down is soft and bite-sized. And we'll go over all of these. And before then, the next step down from mechanical soft was puree. So there was only 3 levels. Now under soft and bite-sized, it's minced and moist. And then under minced and moist is puree. And the puree has different levels too of the thickness of the puree. Yeah, it's crazy. So the liquids are staying the same for the thickness, but the terminology is changing. So thin is still thin. Nectar thick is now mildly thick. Honey thick is moderately thick. So, what I want to show you is, pull it up here. So here is their little diagram, everyone. So what you'll see is the triangle pointing downward is all the foods, and when the foods come from whoever you order them from, you'll see the triangle down for all the foods, and it'll be labeled what texture it's on. The triangle up is all the liquids, and you've probably already noticed on the liquids that it doesn't say just nectar thick anymore. It also says mildly thick with the little triangle and the color. So this is all of them under puree. So you can see puree is extremely thick, moderately thick, mildly thick. So different levels with the puree. The main way the liquids are changing is how we measure how thick they are. So what they want us doing now is taking the needle out of a syringe. You put the liquid, hold your finger on the bottom of the syringe, put the liquid in, you time it for 10 seconds when you let your finger go, and then see what level it's at. So I'll show you a video of that. So this is moderately thick. Can you see that? So they have their finger on it, they let go, they time for 10 seconds. And see where the liquid's at, and it's at about 9. So 10 to 8 would be honey thick or moderately thick. Then the good news is you guys buy your liquids pre-thickened, so you don't have to do it if it's already thickened. But if this was something like you thicken their coffee. So you can see
should they be doing that each time they do the coffee?
That's a question that I had, and they say yes, if it's made, which is impossible. Is it possible to do this every time?
Because we do get our thickened liquids in, but we do not have thickened coffee. I can probably get thickened coffee. Would that be a better idea?
what I would say is doing it, you know, if you're always thickening the coffee, once every few weeks, testing, seeing if you're at about the level it needs to be at.
Because we use the little gel packets.
Yep, those are really nice. So that's what, when state comes, that's what you can expect that they'll be doing if they see you thickening someone's liquid. They see you putting the thickener in there, they'll come with a syringe and test it that way. See if it's thick enough. So maybe when states comes, don't just use the pre-thickened. So this one you could see the difference in how fast it drained out of the syringe. So it had thin over here, mildly thick, so nectar, and moderately thick. And so you can see how fast thin drains out, nectar in the middle, and then the honey thick, and the levels that they're at. So how fast it's going out of the syringe. Any
So
questions?
what about like pudding thick?
Pudding thick, I don't know that I've ever put someone on pudding thick liquids. There's a lot of research that doesn't support pudding thick. So have you ever had someone on pudding
Yes.
thick here? You have?
Yeah.
A long time ago?
Quite a while ago.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Pudding thick would be the same as puree moderately thick, and so that's the spoon drop, which I'll show you. If someone was on pudding thick. So on puree, you put the puree on the spoon and see how it drops off of the spoon. So that's how you'd have to do if someone was on pudding thick liquids. Lot of research that does not agree with pudding thick liquids.
It's interesting.
You might as well just be on a feeding tube.
Because we've had people on.
Yeah. So, any other questions on the liquids?
Order it in.
Use the pre-thickened.
And so they're okay, the pre-thickened would
Yep,
be
they're
that
already
they
good.
don't have to test it,
Yep,
or we don't have to test it, then it would be the manufacturer's
Yep.
responsibility.
they're testing it there. Another reason that they're doing it this way is because, you know, if you thicken something and it sits for a long time, it gets super thick, or when you thicken it right away, it's not the thickness it's supposed to be. So those are all things state will be looking at. When are you giving it to them? If you're pre-thickening or putting the thickener in, are you giving it to them before it's mildly thick? It's still thin, so they'll test it then. You know, is it getting too thick sitting at the table? Those are all things they'll be looking.
So if we were, liquids, they're pretty much just, and maybe Deb can answer too, it's pretty much just the coffee you thicken, isn't it?
Yeah. Everything else seems to be pretty thick
I'll
in
just,
here.
I'll just put it on my list.
Although I have seen the other day, when the assistants thickened water.
Yeah, it's just, if
Because
you,
they thought you like the flavor of the tap water versus the.
Sure.
the bottle.
yeah.
Then you better be testing it with the.
Yeah. And you have to take the syringe.
Something to test it and tell them.
This next time state comes around, they won't be that intense with this. What they'll be looking for is, have you heard of the new diet change, the IDDSI? Have you heard of it? Have you started implementing it? That's really all they'll be doing this time. 5 years from now is when they'll really start cracking down on it. Just like they did with the old diet, making sure if someone's on nectar thick that they don't have thin in their room, that kind of thing.
And the reason we're really moving forward with this dysphagia, international dysphagia diet is this is what's coming. We already know this is coming.
The hospital has already had it all implemented in their hospital, so when someone's coming from the hospital on a changed diet, this is what they're coming on. It's not
the
the
old
old-
handbook,
Yeah.
the old verbiage, it's the new.
Yep, and so it'll be everywhere. You'll see this verbiage, it'll be the same expectations everywhere for what soft and bite-sized means, what foods they can eat, what that looks like.
I
So,
have a question.
Yep.
One day, we were just like, I had one of the CNAs, and I said, the person said that their water or the beverage was warm, wanted ice cubes.
that's
Has
what,
thickened stuff ever been frozen into an ice cube?
That, if you wanted it that cold, it'd have to be the magic cups. If you,
But I mean, she's talking
A
about,
beverage?
like if you were to freeze the pre-thickened,
I've heard it done, but I don't know.
yeah, you can do that, because
Okay,
when
it
it melts,
doesn't-
it melts back to,
Doesn't say, okay.
Its
Yes.
consistency.
it should retain its consistency, that's the
Okay.
same with the magic
Yeah,
cups.
that's what we were wondering, if it would or not, if it would.
Yeah,
I don't have any ice cube trays. Get some. I'm panicking.
maybe even if they wanted it cold, like an hour before the meal, putting it in the freezer or something.
Oh, all our water's pretty cold. I definitely bring it up. Because we have to temp everything before and have it in between that.
So, now for the textures, the really fun part. This is where all the changes come.
I don't know, I think the food is easier than the other one. Because I was at an in-service where we actually tested it and timed it.
Yeah. Was everyone's different?
Pardon?
Was everyone's different, or was everyone's the same?
It was pretty close.
Yeah.
Surprisingly close. But it's still, until you do it, you just, it's just easier to find it already done.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna order in the. Does Maggie drink coffee?
No. Okay, so we're gonna start from the
There's an
bottom.
easy solution to that.
Starting from the bottom of the textures, we'll start with puree. How you test puree is you put the puree on the spoon. What they're looking for is when you tilt it off the spoon that it holds its shape. So when it's falling, it's not all, running apart or coming apart. It holds its shape, is still the same as when it was on the spoon when it falls off. That's what they're looking for. Okay, any questions with that? Also, they're looking that when the puree is off the spoon, it all is off the spoon. So there's nothing left behind. Minced and moist. This is the one I have the most trouble with.
Are you gonna back up to the, what it says?
I'm starting at puree and going up.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
So I'll get there.
Never mind. Never mind.
So minced and moist can be eaten with a fork. Like I said, it's international, so they have chopsticks in here too. Chopsticks, anything that you could eat food with is in here. It can be scooped and shaped. So if you were to take it off the tray, you could shape it into a ball. Okay, it's small lumps. It's 15 millimeters lumps. So what that means is the in-between of the fork tines, that's the size of the minced and moist.
But it's still supposed to hold its ball shape.
But it still will hold its shape.
So if they would do like, so a hamburger can no longer be served as a ground meat. It's going to have to be chopped. And
Probably some gravy on it or something.
something to hold it, I'm thinking it was like a sloppy Joe type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's still loose enough, that's not gonna stand. Or, just kind of loose.
Yeah, minced and moist is tough.
I'm confused.
Let's see, what's this?
Okay, so which one did you say that says the ball that holds the shape? Was that the
Puree.
No.
Okay.
Puree
Or the moist?
holds its shape when it falls off.
Oh, that's perfect.
Minced and moist,
You said
when-
something about a ball shape or that.
so if it's on the plate, you'd be able to put it into a ball.
Oh, okay, okay. No spoon involved, okay.
Yep, so minced and moist,
Ask
if you
more
were,
questions, sorry.
it's really confusing. When you take a fork to the minced and moist, it'll separate, and then you should be able to see like the fork tines in it. So if you were to press down on the minced and moist, when you take the fork off, you'll see the fork tines in it, it'll hold the fork shape. Okay? Let's see. Deb will have it all hanging up in the kitchen and stuff.
I actually wrote up a sheet that said in a nutshell,
Yeah.
and it's, because us in the kitchen, a lot of it is similar, but with different words.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of it is very particular.
It's very specific.
And so we just, I
That's
mean,
where it
it's,
gets so confusing.
it's tough for us, and so it's a learning curve, we're gonna have to just really.
Yeah.
Gonna need another bulletin board in the kitchen.
I do have a manual, and that's the manual, that, the green one. But yeah,
It's a lot, yeah.
it's a lot because when you're busy preparing the food, you don't have time to stop and read a sheet of paper.
Yeah. So any questions about minced and moist? In between the fork tines is the main thing.
Yep.
15 millimeters. Next is soft and bite size. So the soft and bite size is 1.5 centimeter pieces. Which means it shouldn't be longer than, or wider than the fork. So it should fit on the small fork, 1.5 centimeters. Soft and bite sized, yep. You don't need a knife to cut any of the food. You should be able to cut it all with the side of a fork. Soft and bite sized, when you take the fork to push into it, you should notice when you're using your thumb turns white. You have to put that much pressure onto the soft and bite size to get it to push down. So minced and moist is, pretty soft pushing for it to spread out and hold the fork tines. Soft and bite size, when you're pushing down, your thumbnail will turn white. That's what they're looking for. That's how much pressure.
Don't run out of the room screaming yet, Lisa.
Yeah. So then for soft and bite size too, when you push down with the fork, it won't go back to its normal shape, it'll hold that fork shape. That makes sense? So some examples of soft and bite size: cooked tender meat, no bigger than 1.5 by 1.5 centimeters. Fish, soft enough cooked fish to break into small pieces with the fork or chopsticks. No bones, casseroles. The liquid portion must be thick as what they're drinking. So if they're on thin, it can be thin. But if they're on moderately thick, the liquid needs to be moderately thick. Fruit could be cut into soft and bite-sized pieces. Drain excess juice. That's what you'll see for everything except regular textures. You need to be draining the juice out of the fruit cups. Cereal, smooth with soft tender lumps, no bigger than 1.5 by 1.5 centimeters.
And this is for what again?
Soft and bite-sized.
So can they have dry cereal?
Depends on what cereal it was.
Can the moist and minced have dry cereal?
No.
I think we're gonna have a billion.
What is gonna end up happening
So how do we
is,
pacify these residents?
yeah, me and Deb have talked about this a lot.
$1 million question.
What is gonna end up happening is if someone is on minced and moist, say they come from the hospital and that's the recommended diet, minced and moist. They did the video swallow, that's showing all the reasons why, but they love toast. What we can do is all go in, watch them have the toast, see if it's safe. If it is safe, we'll just do a diet exception. Minced and moist, but toast is okay. Minced and moist, but cereal is okay. It'll just be a lot of diet exceptions until we can upgrade them to where we want them to be.
And when this came all about is when a certain resident returned from the hospital with the moist and minced diet order.
Yep.
And we're going, what does that mean? And so in this long process, Hannah and I have been nitpicking everybody apart, and this is a smaller facility so that she can individually sit by and she does, she has quite a bit.